Hello, welcome to Empower and Ignite Transformation Podcast with Alicia and Nicole. How are you, Alicia?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I would like to let all our subscribers know if you're new to our channel, please like and share. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. We would love for you to share our channel. And so with today, listen, we're still in the beginning of March. So, and for those that do not know, it is Women's History Month. So we are all about women this month. With that being said, Alicia,
Mhm.
I would like to start off with the topic that we're going to share today. And it's related to mom burnout, right?
That's a
So,
big topic. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Um, because of course, we're both moms. I have adult children. So definitely I could speak to how at times I was likely burnt out, right? Not anymore, thankfully, but it's real. Mom burnout is real.
Yeah, definitely. And see, I have three small children, so I'm like in it.
Yeah,
In it, right? And so, burnout is real. Burnout is really one of the things that we have to be careful for as moms. And it's not just be moms, right? It's the role that we play with mom on top of everything else. Not only we're taking them, like a taxi driver back and forth places, we're also on PTA and we're doing things there. We're also over here, practicing with them, homework with them, cleaning up rooms, teaching them, the little things in life, all of that, right? All of
right,
that is engraved in this. And so
right,
when we say that mom burnout is not being just tired, right?
right.
It's an emotional, mental, and it's like physical emptiness. It,
Hmm.
it's the I still have to perform even though I have nothing left inside of me to give.
Yeah.
That burnout, let's talk about it. It's
Yeah.
like
And
stress.
I think too, so people don't take it to be a negative in the sense of the term mom burnout, like you don't want to be a mom, right? Some so often people will feel guilty even in saying that they're burnt out because they don't want to be perceived as being negative about wanting the responsibilities of being a mother.
Right. And you know
And
what? The biggest thing is we're not going to just talk about this mom burnout, right? This is Women's Month. We're talking about women burnout, but we're talking about it in the lines of being a mom currently. But we also get burnt out in being a worker at work. We also get burnt out in being a wife with our spouses. So there is more than just the mom burnout, right? It's a burnout, but right now this avenue we're going to lead to moms.
yeah. I definitely think a combination of things can have a woman burnt out, right? I think the different titles and roles for sure can lead to burnout if you're not implementing self-care, if you're not paying attention to your needs, and listening to your body, and making sure you're getting the proper rest. But when I think about the term mom burnout, right? It can be where whether you have one child or several, right? Whether you have four or five, some women, may have more than that. Every child has their individual needs. So you are showing up for your children in the way that they need you. Um, and then in that, remember, depending on the ages of children,
Mhm.
it really is where I know for you, you have three different age spans, different needs. And so you're meeting all of those needs, which at times can lead to you feeling depleted. That's the burnout piece, right?
Correct. Correct. But I'm focused on their emotions. I'm focused on their, what they need, making sure that they have their, vitamins, right? The bottom line. But sometimes I forget mines, right? I'm making sure that they eat in their 3 meals a day, but sometimes I'm over here and I'm having vending machine lunches, right? And so when we talk about that, I'm caring for them, but I also have to care for myself. And that's where that burnout come, because now I'm over here and I'm exhausted, I'm tired, my body breaking down, the nervous system is like, ah, and I'm still caring. I'm still caring about, did y'all brush your teeth today? When I need to go and do something for me, right? And so that's where we have to be very careful on, knowing when it's time to back up, when it's time to reset, because once we get that burnout, right, we can't show up for them like we should. We stop showing up like we should as well.
So what I hear is I get on this rat race or this routine, and sometimes in that I lose myself in the routine of things because I'm focused on my children and what they need, which is important, right? So we're not dismissing because they're little ones; they do have needs, and so you are going to be the caretaker, the nurturer, all of the things that they would have to have as you being the parent. But then for you, you have to also know what do you need to be able to continue to show up. And that sounds like it's like, okay, so I also have to become more organized and structured in planning what the day looks like. But then also you also would likely have to have some form of support. So, and navigating, okay, so what does that look like? And for those that may not have a support system, um, with family, hopefully they have friends or community or church. It looks different for everybody. And so just in trying to ensure that moms know that there is going to be times where you're likely going to need to lean on someone else to
Mhm.
be able to replenish yourself, and make sure that you're taking care of you. And if that system doesn't exist, if you haven't created that support for yourself, and maybe it really is that you don't have it, then
Mhm.
what that looks like in trying to make sure you organize and structure your day so that you don't forget about you.
Bingo. And that's it right there. Because not all of us have it, right? Not all of us have a support system that we can just be like dropping kids off to go out and get my nails done, to get a massage, or to go and do what I need to do. But it's about also, it's take a village. So it's about building that village as well. So who is your village, identifying those people that you can trust, that you do trust, right? And then, we have times, right? I live in Atlanta, I live in Georgia, I live far away from family that I can lean on my support system. So it's, when do I have self-care time? Okay, if the kids are at school, maybe today I'm going to just take off work while the kids is going. I know they taken care of by someone safe because they're at different school, daycare. I'm going to go out and get my nails done, get my hair done. That's for me.
Mhm.
It's taking that time, as you said, identifying where you can slide it in, because you have to take care of you. And so sometimes we get caught up in, like you said, the rat race. But as we all know, just like they tell us every time we fly, you have to put the mask on yourself before you save someone else. And
Yeah.
that is just the truth. You
Yeah.
know, we get angry, we get short tempered, all that can happen when you're burnt out and you don't even notice that you're becoming a person that you never wanted to be, because you're burnt out, that you're not taking notice of you. And
Yeah.
so that's where we could push it, right? And I can just talk about it for days on days. As a mom, as
Mhm.
a wife, as someone who's working, you have to still take that time to be a woman,
Yeah.
whatever that means to you.
Definitely what I heard you say is, okay, so if you know your children are school age and they're in school, then utilizing the time, whether it is a personal day, and if you are a woman that it's like, okay, so I can't take time off because I used all my time up, or um, I don't have the liberty of taking a full day, right? It may look like I need to take 2 hours. and go into work later, right? It may look like I need to take a half a day and leave work earlier so I can have some time. And it may be where I don't get any pampering done, but I get sleep. I
Yes.
get rest. It may be where looking at the things that you need, going back to that inner voice, that inner well-being of knowing what do I need for
Right.
myself to be replenished.
Mhm.
That's you hearing and listening to yourself, your body.
Mm,
And only you would know that. Nobody could tell you what it is that you need. But also, sometimes it really is you need to have interaction with other people. People
mm,
sometimes take that to be so like minute or that it's not necessary. But socializing is real, depending on the personality of a person. If they are extrovert, if they need to interact with others, that could be something that's needed. And that can look like if you have a significant other, like saying, hey, we will likely need to split off time. Give me half a day, or you take, and I do what I want to do with my friends, or, go where I want to go. And then also that significant other gets their time, right?
mhm.
Because everybody needs their own individual time.
Right.
That's the piece that needs to be really identified in like what do I need? And not just in always caring for someone else, but caring for me.
Yeah. And I think socialization is a big one, right? Because, there's sometimes we can fill our cups with socialization even though the kids are there, right? It's like meeting your mom friend at a park where you're having your adult time, where you're just catching up on your girl talk and your favorite TV shows and whatever the new gossip or drama is around town, and the kids are still having their time. And that's a way where you're recharging and not even knowing that you're recharging while your kids are they're having a good time together, right? And so utilizing, and so it's identifying what you need because sometimes that may not be. Sometimes it's like I just need peace and quiet. And that may be I know that the kids are safe in the house. I'm just gonna go sit in the car. I'm just gonna sit in the car. That's it. I'm not going nowhere because I don't have a sitter. I'm just gonna sit for a minute, just a minute, and just have a moment to myself. So you have to identify what that looks like for that recharge. For if it's a bath, a
Right,
simple in a bathtub with a glass of wine, that may be your vibe. And
right,
then it's like making time for that. It's scheduling time for that. You may have to pop that popcorn, make them cookies for them kids, put them in front of a nice movie where you go for that hour and 20 minutes because kids' movies are not that long. And have that moment to yourself, right? But it is identifying what you need for you to recharge to avoid that burnout. And identifying when before that burnout comes, because that's a big thing too. Don't wait until you already burnt out and now you're like, okay, I'm burnt out, stressed out, and now I'm trying to get back to me. No, identify, okay, this is happening and I need to stop it before it gets too bad.
yeah. I like that you said, okay, so find different ways that you can possibly recharge. Um, and if it is where you don't have a sitter, definitely being able to have time alone. Um, depending on the age of the children, of course, because we don't want you to go sit in the car and they're a certain age and something, could happen in a quick of a minute, right? So we're not saying that. We're saying age appropriate. We're always looking or thinking about age appropriate kids, where they're able to sit in the house by themselves and you not worry about you sitting in the car by yourself. But definitely, if they are younger children, that they have to be tended to, then you know that you can have them go to bed earlier or put a movie on like you suggested, and that they're on the couch while you're in another room, having your time to relax. And so definitely being able to know that there's ways for you to be able to recharge, and that it may not always be where you're separated from them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because, again, having kids at all different ages, we understand the dangers of just letting other people watch your kids. We pull back from that. And then, of course, let's be honest, when we get burnout, we don't want to admit it because it comes with the guilt. Like fear that other people are going to judge us because we're burnt out, or a fear that, we look like the worst moms or the worst person, the woman in the world, because we're saying that we need a break.
Mhm.
And, that's again going down the avenue of a spouse, same difference. If you're investing all your time in your relationship, what about you as an individual? Because you're still a person, right? We're bringing two worlds together. We're not just, throwing you away. So you still have things that you enjoy doing, and those are important for you. And so it's definitely navigating and looking through your systems. Where can I lean on this person? Okay, I know I can lean on that person. I'm willing to ask for that help, right? So I can be able to have a moment.
Definitely. And I'm glad that you brought up the guilt piece, right? So often moms is afraid to even talk about it, because they're like, I don't want someone to perceive me as not wanting to be a mom, or not being appreciative of being a mom, or not loving being a mom, when that is not the case. That is so far from you being judged. It just is the reality that you're human, and
Mhm.
that when you are caring for someone, um that it would be where you have to take care of you. Caretakers, that's a lot of responsibility, even though you love it. So
Yes.
definitely, um, not to feel guilty if you are one that possibly could carry guilt around even saying it. Just know that you're human. It makes sense that you would get tired at times, that you would need to take care of you. So no, we don't want that to be the case, but we do know that oftentimes mom do feel that, and even not wanting to share.
Right, right. And I think you made a good point about like caretakers, right? That's a whole nother avenue of where us women, because us women seem to fall, heavy in the caregiving roles of our elders. I feel like that's another part where we fall into the guilt feeling, and we burn out because we don't take the time for ourselves as well. So I think that that's another example on the importance of, it's not just moms, right? And that's what we want to make sure that, people without children, you look at and be like, oh, all that work they're talking, I never want kids. No, we're not just, again, this is all types of roles that women have and that they could possibly get burnt out on. So, not just hitting just straight on it's just moms, it's just moms. No, burnout is in a lot of different avenues, right?
Yeah,
We just see it a
definitely.
lot more when it comes to moms.
Yeah. Because my women overall, right, are nurturers, are
Mhm.
caretakers, are, they're ones to like to do for others often,
Right.
whether it's just out of just their nature as being a woman. We are often nurturing people. So just being mindful of that, and just, okay, so let me make sure that I am not pouring from an empty cup, that I'm paying attention to how much I'm giving of myself.
Yeah.
So those things are going to be important. But then also just kind of going back to creating the system that works for you.
Hmm.
Definitely, you know, identify what your children need, because their needs are going to be different. They have different personalities. They are different people.
Correct.
So definitely being able to identify that, so that you show up for them each as they need you to, right? Not as, okay, so this is what I did for this one, so I'm gonna do the same for the other one, because that doesn't always work.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now, thinking like you said, or speaking as you said, one thing that I thought about is, how to kind of avoid a little bit of this, right? And when we think of avoiding, we have to stop over functioning. And so I think that that's a big thing for a lot of us women when you say that, because we over function. We are anticipating things before it even comes. And so that's like a big thing. And like, why do we do things that no one asks us to do? As women, we'll just start doing stuff, and we're helping. It may be helpful, but no one asks. Stop automatically thinking that this needs to get done. Maybe your spouse will do it. Maybe we could talk to the kids, age appropriate, of course, but maybe we can get them to, hey, it's time for you to clean your own bathroom. It's time for you to separate the clothes. They ain't got to wash it, age appropriate, but we have to start delegating some of those duties as well. And so instead of trying to fix every problem, to beat everything, we have to know, okay, we're over functioning. We're overdoing things that one wasn't even asked, even with our parents as caregivers, we jump in and we're like, Mom, I'm doing this, Mom, I'm doing that. They didn't ask you. Them parents didn't come to you and tell you to take over every last part of their lives. Sometimes we have to bring it in. We have to know, okay, no one asked us. That's something that we could take off our plate to focus on other things, because let's be honest, you have a full plate. And so over functioning, that is a big thing that a lot of women in even at work,
Yeah.
we step up and we go above and beyond. And well, we knew that this email needed to go out, so we're staying a little later to get over functioning. You're not getting paid to stay over late, and when you have other things to do. And another thing is, stop saying yes all the time. Sometimes it's okay to say no. Like, automatic yes is crazy. Think about it. Think about the time commitment into signing up for that PTA. Think about the time commitment into, and we all want to be there, be present, but we have to be realistic.
I like
Mhm.
that you said that because that's often where people don't even realize that they didn't necessarily have to step into that role or do that for somebody, right? Just even and I know sometimes when you're thinking, you want to think ahead. So you're thinking, oh, I'm getting ahead of whatever issue might come up or I'm solving, but you also could be causing your own burnout. You could also be causing your own stress, and the need to please is real. When I heard you say, okay, so why are you always saying yes to everything or feeling like you need to be the one to solve the issue or the one that gets the thing done? Are you identifying, is this the need to please?
Mm,
Because
yeah,
it shows up subtle. It can
yeah.
show up subtle and people think like, I don't have the need to please.
Hmm.
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 But you always say yes to
Oh,
everything.
especially them automatic yes. Them automatic. Yes, be there. Did you think about this? Did you think about, you being there is gonna have to be getting, three kids up on a Saturday morning, out the door at 7 a.m., and you gonna do all of this when you had a full week and you needed to take a moment to yourself. But you said, yeah, you said you're gonna be there. Like, you have to really, take a moment and to kind of process some of those them yeses before you
Why
just.
am I committing to this? What is my intent from doing this, for saying yes?
Yes, that's a big one, right?
Mhm.
And like we said with anything, what is your intentions? What is it? Is it going to benefit, help, support, or are you doing it because you feel the sense of obligation? Because that obligation is steering you right to burnout, because we're doing things not because we even want, not because we enjoy, because we feel obligated. And once we start feeling these obligations on us, those weigh on us. Those weigh heavy.
And then too, even beyond an obligation, unfortunately, sometimes people feel like, oh, I will be perceived and looked at as the go-to, the nice one.
Mhm.
Um, they would like me more. I would receive validation for doing this. Like really being honest with yourself. Like, why am I choosing to say yes? Because so often people will say yes or do things or have the need to please because they get something from that as well. They become the rescuer, the savior, the okay, I
The
got it done. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. They get that hero complex, right?
Uh-huh.
It feels good that they came to me. but it feels good until you burned out, and now you're trying to figure out why everybody come to you because you've been that to go to person all the time, and not one time did you say, you know, this time I just can't. I spreaded myself too thin to bake all them
Right.
cookies. You still baked them cookies. You still showed up, and now you're like, I'm exhausted, and no one
Mhm.
cares. But you never spoke up, and so you know, even in a sense of just having that voice to say, you know, I can't do it right now. Not this month, not this week.
Right. Definitely. Like, no, I'll pass.
Mhm.
It's okay to say no. No is not, does not mean you're mean.
Mhm.
That does
And
not
that,
mean
you know,
that.
and I tell people too, you know, as moms, working people, you know, we get invited out, right? Come on out with us. Let's go out and have a few drinks or go get some food or go to the movies. Let's just go out. And you're tired, but you don't want to say no. Like if you're feel forced to go out, that is not self-care. That is not recharging you. That is not making you feel all good inside because you're tired and
Mhm.
you're forcing yourself to go out thinking that this is self-care. That's not it.
Not
That's not
self-care.
it.
You will have to enjoy it to for it to be self-care. It will have to make you feel relaxed.
Right. Right.
So definitely being
At
okay
that point,
with
say
saying,
no. Just say
I'll take a rain check.
that is self-care. That is
Yeah.
putting yourself first and your needs first and not being burnt out. Because if you go and let's say you go to that concert that ends at midnight and you know you got to get up at 6 a.m. and now you're even more tired, but you feel obligated to go anyway, like that's not helping. That's not what we mean when we say, you know, take care of your emotional state to avoid burnout. Take care of your needs too. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
That's so true. I'm so glad you said that, Alicia, because it really is where sometimes people are like, I don't want to say no because they invited me.
mhm,
Or I don't want them to think that I don't want to hang out with them. They start to have this whole story narrative in their own mind about how somebody would perceive a no.
yes, and a note can just, "Okay, I'll talk to you next time." Like, you'll be so surprised how good communication can really impact anything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I really agree. I think that, you know, to avoid burnout, use communication, open up, lean on your support system, take that time to, you know, practice self-care. I tell everybody all the time I use a cup and I demonstrate. It's like holes in a cup. It's pouring out. Life is pouring out. We all will want to wake up one day and everything is all happy, sunshines, and everything is perfect, but realistic. And realistic is that there are always going to be things that hit our cup. So we have to replenish. We have to keep pouring into ourselves. But you have to do that self searching to find out what it is that you need to be able to pour into yourself, to be able to avoid that burnout. You know, we don't want you in survivor mode, right? Where your systems is like all chaotic, like, whoa, no, no. We want you at your peace, your happiness, where you can show up to
Definitely. We want you to thrive in
right.
every area of your life.
Every area.
Not just being a mom, not just being a wife, but every area of your life, without the titles, you just thriving and being you.
Yeah, yeah, as a woman, right? Like, won't that be crazy?
Oh,
Well, I'm just me. Like, I'm just Alicia. Like, to say that, right? Because even when we introduce ourselves with all these titles.
mm,
Yeah. So well, this is good. This was good. I think this is really good. Again, I'm going to say this, share this with any woman, right? All women, no matter if they're moms with older children, moms with younger children, middle age, right? We just still want to have that conversation to express the importance of avoiding that burnout.
yeah, definitely. And I just want to add that with it being Women's History Month, of course, we are talking about women. Over the last couple of weeks or even going into next week, but it is where you share with another woman so that they don't feel alone and that they don't think that it's not okay to be open about what they could possibly be challenged with because it is okay, and it is likely at some point we will all experience or have experienced burnout. So how we navigate it and how we get through it, that's the piece of just sisterhood.
Right. And take time to be patient with your sisters, right? With your fellow women. Don't judge them, right? Because they say they tired. Don't be like, I see them in McDonald's line every on Tuesday. That's none of your business. Don't do that, right? Let them be them, right? And don't put that pressure, because a lot of times that's where it falls back from the pressure of we want to be as great as the other woman, them phenomenal women, right? And sometimes, again, we ain't doing them superwoman capes,
No, we're not. And you're phenomenal just in being.
just being.
Period.
All
All
right.
right.
Don't forget to send in new topics each and every week. Every Tuesday, come back and listen to another episode.
Take care.